Here comes the Hogeyes man.
John and David Morris were born in Clay County and played a major role in the recognition and popularization of authentic old-time music in central West Virginia during the late 1960s and 1970s. David, born in 1944, and John, born in 1946, came into a family that was already deeply rooted in traditional music. They learned volumes from family members, especially grandmother Lula Hill and parents Anna and Dallas Morris. Though they both played several instruments, David eventually settled on guitar and John on fiddle. They took advantage of the wealth of local musical talent in the area and learned to play with many of the area fiddlers, banjo players, and singers, including Ernie Carpenter, John Hilt, and Frank George. The brothers began playing together as a band in the mid-1960s. However, David was drafted into the Army in 1967 and was sent to Vietnam. David was opposed to the war and was traumatized by his military experience, later receiving full disability for post-traumatic stress disorder. The experience radicalized David, who, for the rest of his life, was involved with a variety of social and environmental causes.
I stood for the union, I've walked in the line, fought against the company. I stood for the UNWA, now who's gonna stand for me?
In 1968, David met United Mine Workers President Arnold Miller, and the brothers began singing and playing for striking miners and other labor groups, an activity which they continued throughout the 1970s. From 1969 through 73, David and John organized the Morris Family Old Time Music Festival at their family's home place. This rustic get-together became an important gathering spot for traditional musicians from Clay and neighboring counties, as well as for travelers and visitors from across the country. At the 1970 gathering, Father Dallas Morris counted license plates there from 36 states. In 1972, filmmaker Bob Gates documented the festival with his film titled The Morris Family Old Time Music Festival. A few years later, Norman Fagan, the first Commissioner of Culture and History for the state of West Virginia, invited the Morris brothers to help plan a state-sponsored old-time music festival modeled after their events. That festival debuted in 1977 as the Vandalia Gathering. John and David also received a grant from the Rockefeller Foundation to organize grassroots festivals in Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, and West Virginia. The pair remained extremely busy throughout the 1970s, performing, organizing, and assisting worthy causes throughout the region. Their music was featured in Barbara Koppel's 1977 Academy Award-winning film Harlan County, USA. David moved to Ohio in the 1980s and remained active as a musician. Not long before his death from cancer in 2017, he again collaborated with Koppel on Shelter, a documentary on homeless vets, and performed at a screening of the film at the Toronto Film Festival. John still lives in Clay County, where he restores old automobiles and plays the fiddle and banjo. John and Dwight Diller contributed a track to Always Lift Him Up, the West Virginia Music Hall of Fame's tribute to blind Alfred Reed.
Just remember his son, Mother's darling, always lift him up and never knock him down.
And he's won many awards for his fiddling. He remains an authority on West Virginia traditional music. During their heyday, the Morris Brothers were easily the most popular and in-demand old-time music group in West Virginia. With David's powerful singing and charismatic stage presence, and John's driving fiddle, they were the definition of West Virginia traditional music in the eyes of many people. Though closely tied to traditional music, the Morris Brothers also entertained audiences with bluegrass, country, and original songs. Through their organizing efforts and leadership, they spread their vision of music, heritage, and community throughout Appalachia and beyond.